Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week I take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and we try to isolate an angle to the race we might look back on later as having been the key ingredient to finding the winner. Well, the final Group 1 of the season on Sunday at Sha Tin, the Champions and Chapter Cup. And while it's not one of the races that I'm going to highlight in today's show, it is a race that I like every year because it's been famous for some upsets, and it is a race where a putter can get a result. And just as a nod to that, I thought we'd have a quick look back at the list of past winners. Now this goes back the last 25 years, and as you can see here on the right hand side, the performance of the favourites, well, a lot of them get rolled in this, and this is a race where legends go to die in some ways. We've had favourites beaten in this race right down to 1.2 favourites, and it's a very tricky race if you fancy taking the short odds. In the last 3 years, of course, the favourite has won. Tony Cruz has put the record a little bit straighter there, and it has been a race that he's owned recently. He's looking for his 8th win from the past 9 years on Sunday when he saddles up Packing Waltham, Time Warp and the reigning champion Exultant. But back to the races that we are going to take a closer look at, and the first of them is race 10, and our winning factor here, the map. So this class 4, it's very late in the card to find a class 4 actually, but we've got some handy younger horses and a bit of depth to the race, and I think there'll be winning chances here given to Super Red Dragon, Dragon Fortune and Zone D at the top of the weights, all racing well and coming off recent placings. We've got the impressive last start winner, Love Me More, Big Two, who surprised quite a few people at long odds in his nice debut effort last time, and Gracie Love, who is racing okay and has a weight pull over his major rivals in this. But as I've said, the winning factor for us here is the map, and in Sunday's race, the map is really not going to help a few of those that we've just mentioned. So let's look first at the map and see what we can drop out of contention. And the speed here looks to be in mid-draw. Gracie Love, Telecom Puma, Shadow Runner and Magic Bonus likely to be positive from the start and pushing across the field to occupy the top spots. But I'm just not convinced there will be that much competition between them for the front, and things could slow up once they find their positions on the front end of the race. Now, that looks a big problem for horses like Zone D and Love Me More from out wide, so I'm dropping them from the contenders. And that leaves me with a number that I want to look more closely at. And first of all, we're going to take a look at race 560. Now, this is 2 starts ago for Gracie Love in early April, red and purple colours from gate 6, and with Zach Purton aboard, and he jumps well and is always prominent here in a race dominated on the front end by Super Winner. As you see on the heat map, he burns his rivals off in the middle of the race with strong sections from the 1200 to the 400. And although he gets a little bit tired in the final stages, allowing Gracie Love and the grey Super Red Dragon to get closer as the post arrives, the race was pretty much already won by the time he got past the 200. As I said, that was Gracie Love's run 2 runs ago. Since then, he's been caught wide, had a tough trip and a run best forgotten. Assess him on what we've seen there. The second race I want to take a look at, this is race 601, and this is Dragon Fortune's latest. Now, he's in gate 10, green, black and yellow colours here, and I want you to note after the start you see Zach looking across to the inside for quite a while, trying to work out how he's going to get over on this horse, get closer to the rail, and in the end there isn't a solution. He ends up getting well back out of a race that was run quite similarly to the one we just saw. A fast middle, a soft final 400 metres, but unlike Gracie Love, Dragon Fortune has had to give away a much bigger start to another leader who just keeps running, Unicorn Baby, and he gets home for second, and that's Zone D running on from the back for third placing. And finally, I want to take a look at the debut run of Big Two. And this is the most recent of these replays. This is race 613, and he's in dark blue and white here. Jumps well from gate 11, settles in a decent enough spot, although 3 wide. Now, 3 wide in a different style of race like this with a slow pace and a sprint home, it wasn't a bad place to be, because you can see the winner is following him 3 wide, Hall of Champ, and the runner-up in the race is in front of him in pink, Super Mission, also 3 wide. In the soft pace, 3 wide in the running line was a good place to be. There's a sharp sprint home down the home straight, and while he tries very gamely here, Big Two, he really gets run out of it by the first couple. So from all that we've seen there, the ones that are swapping outside draws for inside draws this time, Big Two and Dragon Fortune, look to have the better circumstances in Sunday's race, and for that reason the tip in race 10 is Dragon Fortune. His winning factor, the map. I think we saw that the barrier ensured he had to give away too much start last time. From gate 2 on Sunday, I don't think that's going to happen. The other race I want to take a look at on Sunday is the final race, race 11, and our winning factor here, acceleration. And the standout runner here is the 3-year-old Killer B, looking for his 3rd win from 4 starts. I do think there'll be some fans of Namjong Singh's in the race, with a weight turnaround on the favourite and a better barrier draw. And Chicken Dance might have some admirers. He's a talented horse who's quite well handicapped now, although to be fair, his season has been punctuated with health problems. I think it's fair to say most punters will land on Killer B as the most likely winner here, and that's fair enough after what was a pretty impressive effort at his last start, beating Mighty Valor and Namjong Singh's arrival again on Sunday. So let's take a look at that race, and this is race 658, and Killer B in bright green colours here, and he gets into midfield in the race while Namjong Singh's races to his outside in the blue and red colours, eventually running 3rd. But I want to highlight the unusual heat map here. Wagner Borges got the lead very quickly on Mighty Valor and then immediately slows the speed, so much so that the first 400 metre sectional was around about a second slower than would have been average for this kind of race. So Borges was able to effectively turn this into an 800 metre race, picking up the pace on the circle section, then sustaining that sprint from the 800 right down to the post. So the fact that Killer B was able to pull 3.5 lengths off him in those circumstances was quite outstanding from the young horse. Now, often on this show I focus on the map in races because often when horses look unlucky, it's the map that's to blame. Not many races are actually won by sheer force of talent in a handicap system like Hong Kong, and often the bad luck is a little bit predictable from difficult draws. And I've got to say that on Sunday, Killer B has what looks a potentially unlucky map. So let's take a look at that, and he draws 8 in a field of 13. He has a little bit of pace under him, but more of it to his outside, looking to cross over in front of him. And Killer B really looks like the meat in the sandwich here to some extent, if he's ridden like last start. But he also presents an extra headache for Joe Moreira, because when he did rush him out of the gates at his second start to offset a draw and sit closer, the inexperienced young horse over-raced and didn't produce that day the finish that we have seen from him since, getting beaten at odds on that occasion. Meanwhile, his major rival Namjong Singh's meets him better at the weights this time and maps better as well. So there's a decent argument that Namjong Singh's could turn the tables on Killer B with a favourable map against an unfavourable one. However, I want to go back to that win by Killer B and highlight an aspect of it, and that is his acceleration. And if we look here at this graphic, the last 400 metre sectionals for this season at Sha Tin, and this is from around about 1,700 performances, and there's Killer B at just his 3rd start in a race in amongst them, and only about a length behind the fastest from the Group 1 winner, Wellington. Now, I haven't adjusted these for track speeds on the day, but if I did, I think he'd even move up a couple of places on this list. And that is why I've made the winning factor in this race acceleration. The tip in race 9, Killer B. His winning factor, acceleration, and this is a factor I have brought up only rarely in the past with horses like Golden 60 and Skyfield. And while it remains to be seen whether Killer B gets to that kind of level, he certainly has shown the acceleration of a better grade of horse than this race. And I think he has the acceleration to get himself out of trouble in what looks an awkward map. Well, that's it for the winning factor this week. Enjoy the final Group 1 of the season on Sunday. We'll see you next time.